I went home when I was 9 years old and asked my parents if I could start my own business. My parents could have said so many things to me. They could have said, no, let's wait until you're a bit older. They could have said, we don't have time for that right now. And actually, that last excuse would have made the most sense. You see, my little brother, was in and out of hospital about 8 to 10 times a year growing up. And more often than not, I felt like my parents and my family didn't really have a huge amount of time for me. And so that first, we don't have time for that, would have made the most sense. However, my parents said, okay. They said, what can we do to help? And that first okay, I think, is the reason that I am standing here in front of you today, closing out your inspirational day with a final 10 minutes about daring to be different, about daring to follow the beat of your own drum, and about daring to go against what other people tell you should be doing. Because I promise you that if you do, it will take you to some absolutely phenomenal and unexpected places. My name is Maddie, and this is me. I was 6 years old when I decided to cut off my long pigtail plaits with a pair of kindergarten scissors. My mum was not happy. If you were to ask my parents what I was like when I was little, they would say that I was complex. Growing up with a very sick little brother and a very unwell mum made me a very different child to how everyone else was when I was at school. From a very young age, I knew how to pack his medicine bag, I knew how to pack his things for the hospital, I knew what blanket he needed, what pajamas he needed, and what teddy and pup he needed to take with him. I was never taught how to do his medicine. I was never taught how to ring an ambulance. But somehow, these are just things that I innately knew how to do. I was that girl in primary school whose parents weren't there to watch her at sports day because they were at the hospital with my brother. I was that kid who had to do her homework by torchlight and lift the kitchen chair rather than scrape it back along the floor because my brother had really bad migraines. I was tuned into my brother. I knew exactly what he needed when he needed it. I would tiptoe up and down the hallway in the middle of the night, checking on him, checking on his breathing, and waking my parents up at the slightest sign of something being wrong. I don't remember the first time my brother went to hospital, but I do remember the first time I realized what I was good at. I was 8 years old, and I was standing outside my childhood home selling bouncy balls to raise money for charity. I don't remember the first time my brother had a seizure, but I do remember the first time I ran a fundraiser. I was 9 years old. It was a party at the Plaster Funhouse in Melbourne for 50 people, and we raised $500 for the brothers and sisters of sick kids. I don't remember the number of times that I ran away from home as a teenager, but I do remember the first time I realized that I had the attention of a whole community. I was 16 years old and launching my second business, Little Dreamers Australia. Today, 9 years later, we are Australia's leading young carer support organisation. We run best practice programs around the world to support kids with a parent, brother or sister with a serious illness or disability. I graduated from Brighton Secondary College in Melbourne in 2010, and I was school captain. In fact, I was captain of everything. From a very young age, all I wanted to do was stand in the spotlight and make a difference. And at my school, I graduated in the top 10% of my class. And when I was in year 11, much like you guys today, I went and sat down with my year 11 career counsellor, and we decided what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I was really loving health and human development at the time. In particular, I loved learning about food and how food can contribute to your health and well-being, and how that differs around the world. So naturally, I applied for a Bachelor of Health Sciences majoring in nutrition. I lasted 1 semester. For the next 2 years, I tried 2 different degrees at 2 different universities and ended up back at my high school with my year 12 media teacher talking about why I felt like such a failure. According to the way that everyone had set me up, I should have known exactly what I wanted to do. 2 years out of high school, I should have had around 1 to 2 years left of my university degree, and I should have been right on track to get my dream job. That's what I felt like everyone had expected of me. Now, everyone knew that I'd started my own business when I was 16. My year 11 and 12 career counsellor knew that I had Little Dreamers on the side. So why was this never taken into consideration when we were talking about dream jobs? I was presented with doctor, lawyer, teacher, psychologist, when none of those titles really sat well with me. Founder and CEO were never presented to me as legitimate career paths. But what if they had been? I went on to study a Bachelor of Business majoring in marketing, and I was a fantastic student. I was regularly in class stressed, tired, and overwhelmed. My assignments were always late, but I never asked for an extension because I thought that's just what you had to do. I would be in class every day learning about marketing plans for orange juice, going home to work at a boarding school overnight, and then sending emails to potential donors at 2 o'clock in the morning for my growing startup. And still, while I was at university, we were presented with become an intern, get a grad position, work as a brand assistant, an executive, and finally sometime, maybe, a head of brand at a big multinational corporation. These things didn't really sit with me. I didn't really want to work my way up when I had this growing business on the side. I wanted to be hustling with heart and leading with passion and purpose. I want to talk about some of my favourite entrepreneurs for a second. Taj Pabari founded his first business when he was 11 years old. Rosie Thomas from Project Rocket founded her business straight out of high school. And Jordan O'Reilly went to university to study occupational therapy, only to never work as an OT, but rather found a very successful nonprofit and then a for-profit, for-purpose business based on personal experience. None of these people followed typical career progression paths, and every single one of them is now inspiring millions of people around Australia and around the world. So what if we started processing entrepreneur and CEO as legitimate career paths? What if these were presented to students today as something that they could be doing? How do we make entrepreneurship something that is easier and more accessible, and something that is acceptable around our family dinner table? And firstly, I think we need to make the word entrepreneurship a little easier to say. So, I'm going to share with you my 5 tips and things that I've learnt along the way to help me get to this point where I think that I can tell people that my dream job is to be my own boss, not such a scary alternative. Number 1, make passion part of your everyday. You should be passionate about what you do, but found something you're really good at but not so passionate about? That's okay. Find a way to bring passion and purpose into your everyday. Become an intrapreneur and make your office a dog-friendly office. Become a volunteer, read the news, stay up to date, and teach people about things that you love, and make sure that you are happy every single day. Number 2, learn to let go. Learn to let go of the fear of making mistakes, let go of people holding you back, let go of bad relationships, but most importantly, let go of the expectations that you have that you don't think meet up with what everyone else expects of you. Follow your own path and make sure that you live up to your own expectations rather than everyone else's. Number 3, don't be afraid. It's really easy to walk down a path that has been walked down before because we know that it turns out okay. We've seen everyone else do it. We know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But the best things happen when you walk down your own path because you don't know what you're going to find. You may find some new friends, a successful idea. You may even find a member of One Direction in Buckingham Palace. Who knows? But I can promise you, with a hand on my heart, that whatever you choose, it is incredibly exciting. Number 4, dare to be different. Stand out, because the best people do. And number 5, trust the timing. I'm 25 years old. I have friends who've moved out of home. I have friends that have bought their own homes. I have friends that are still living in their childhood bedrooms. I have friends that have kids, that are married, that are divorced, some that are single, some that are dating. I have friends all over Australia, backpacking around the world, and some who've never left the country. I have some friends who are still in university, some that are in their dream job, and some that have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And that's okay. Everyone's path follows a different journey and a different timing, but trust your own timing because it's there for a reason. I am now running Australia's leading young carer support organisation, working with 4,000 young people per year across the country. I lead a team of 4 fierce and powerful women working towards improving the quality of life for young carers and young people caring for a family member. Every single day, we work towards a big goal, actually a big, hairy, audacious goal of ensuring that every single young carer around the world is supported by someone or something by 2030. And if we worked every day and we spent every day thinking about how big that goal is, we would get no work done. But if we take every single day, one day at a time, every child, one at a time, we will poke our head up out of the work one day and realize that we're a lot further along than we think we are. No journey is ever simple, and no path is ever straightforward. But I can promise you that everything that you do can lead to some extraordinary places. So trust it, because the world really is our oyster. Thank you.